Good evening, everyone. This is Anne-Marie Band with thetradingbook.com, and I was just asked a little bit ago, hey, listen, could you do another video that tells us how to use the levels in the blog? And so today I'm looking at the ES numbers that we put out last night when the market started trading on Sunday night, because we only did trade half a day today. And so the key events for us to understand as we're looking at this is that we are able to trade in either direction based on what it is that we think the market is going to do. So I provide the levels for you, and what the video here is about is what you do at those levels to decide whether it's the right thing or not. And so really, we can look at it just a little bit more closely, and we can see that on Sunday night, I said, hey, you can start thinking about long action events once we get up and over 34.2675. That's this line right here. That's a lower edge of resistance that we need to breach, but it's also a higher edge of support. And so we can start trading there. And you'll notice that on Friday, it moved up into the 54.75 area, but could not hold there on the afternoon event. And then into Sunday, we began with the day at 34.19 or so. So the question might be, what do I do here if I'm going to trade a short event from this edge? If I'm going to say, hey, listen, I'm going short at 33.97.75. Well, the first target that this gives us right here underneath this area is 33.82. You'll notice that 34.64, which is a higher edge, but a lower edge of resistance, is also an area that we can participate. So when we look at this number, we want to look at the first parts here before the second parts. And when we look at this number on this entry, we want to start looking at the numbers below that as our first target. Now, I put this up on Sunday night, Sunday afternoon, before the market started running. And you'll notice that there is a short action event that takes us from 33.97 right into that first target underneath at 33.82. So the question might be, what can I look at that tells me that I can take a short at 33.97? And what might tell me that I better think about taking profit at 33.82 instead of waiting for it to come in to 33.47 and having that trade really not go in our favor at all? And so what we can do is go to a smaller time frame. And what I want you to see is that the tiny time frames, once I've established the levels for you, the tiny time frames can tell us where it is that my price action tests its support zone here and then retests it from a failure perspective. So once it comes in, you set the alert, right? If you've got a series of lower highs and lower lows, you know you're in a trend formation. A break off of this motion tells us that any bounces into this zone are going to give us selling pressures. And the first area we can run straight into is this 33.82 zone. And so if we look at it, on our Sunday night formation, we're going to see that the 5-minute chart on Sunday night breaks right through the 34.15 area, comes into our support zone, bounces, and then fails. And so here is your thought. Your thought is, I know when it comes into my support zone, somebody's going to bounce. if I take the trade before the bounce begins, my support edge is really at the next line in the sand, and that is the 34.15 we've got marked. If I wait for the failed bounce, the next event that allows me to enter right here at this pass gives me my target zone right here that I have, and my stop up above this region, which is 34.07. Now, that's still 10 points of motion, and that's because of the way the market is right now. Notice this. If I come immediately into a support zone and I bounce off of it straight away and close above it, my next candlestick is going to tell me everything I need to know. My philosophy is here. Listen, if you are in a downward motion and you're looking for broad support, and that is, why do we think about this chart needing broad support? And it has to do with what I'm telling you that the formation is. It's neutral to bullish. And so in neutral to bullish formations, the first thing a price action event will do is try to recover old support zones the moment that they're broken. So you can say to yourself, all right, I'm going to take my position off as soon as it gets to this area, or I can take half my position off and I can move my stop zone up where I had it beforehand. And that was, let me show you again. That was this area right here. Now my thought would always be, if you take profit, you want to leave at break even when you're looking at downside trades that you're taking, when the broad market has got a bullish pressure event after testing a deeper support zone. So in the end, support that gets broken will recapture and become support and test again. So a place that you can short because it fails is also a place you can go long because it holds, where old resistance becomes new support. And again, you can see that as you look at the preview zone. You can see that pulling back into this region allows you to stair step back up the ladder, 33.97, into 34.15, because 33.97 was the breakdown. You can trade it from one edge of the chart to the next. Let's say you didn't notice this and you missed it. You can always look for the next area where the chart pulls back and gives you a higher low, and you can also participate in those ranges. The key event, folks, is to not engage in any space that's not been marked on your chart or in the blog. And if you have Thinkorswim, these levels come to you when you open up the blog. You can download them and they'll pop right onto your chart. Don't engage unless you're at a level. So you pay attention at that level. You can see whether it's going to be support that becomes resistance, that becomes support again, and allows you to trade into the next zone. You can simply look at these things and say, listen, if I've got a higher low and a higher high, I'm naturally going to press into my next area of congestion. And so right now, in the pre-market on Monday night, we are sitting above this zone. And so our next line in the sand above our 34.15 is our 34.36. That's right here. And above that zone, we've got our 34.54 area, right? Now, what you can also see is this zone once we get past this zone, we are in regions that will push us to the upside. And so this is the next region that we are likely to test. So if you want to get there, old resistance must become new support. It's trying to do that right now. This is a bounce zone. It's going to break, pull back. Old resistance will become new support, and you'll be able to follow it into the edges. If you use the roadmaps, that I built you, you are going to do very, very well by just paying attention to the level. Once the level gets hit, your thought must be, am I going to buy this because it holds, or am I going to sell it because it fails? Don't do anything until it's told you what it's going to do. Here it said, hey, I'm going to fail. And what it does, it comes down, but it doesn't break below our edges. And if it doesn't break lower, it tells us it is likely to retest the zone, and our job as a trader is to say, nope, that's not going to work for the long side down. I'm going to take profit where I see it. Hopefully this helps you, and I'll see you in the trading room tomorrow.